Max.
Go.
Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps. The cabin link check. Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. I am your host, Joni Skinner. Tonight, Wednesday, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. Hello, Rumble, and Twitch. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope everybody's doing well. Hello, chat. How are you? I hope you're having a great Wednesday. Finally, halfway in the middle of the week. We're making it. I hope y'all are doing well. Keep it, and then we had a tsunami warning in Alaska with a 7.3 earthquake. But it was out in the out in the ocean. So the tsunami just got the all clear. Everybody's safe. So let's hope things are calming down now with this crazy weather. It's crazy everywhere. I don't think there's any place I know right now that's not experiencing some kind of weird weather pattern. Let's just hope it calms down a little. We need to stop. It needs to just calm and relax. I hope y'all how are you, chat? Come on in. Thanks for sharing, Linda. Hello, Miss Lee. Hello, Miss Lois. I hope y'all are doing. Hi, Miss Tammy. And just a little shout out, you guys, and I'm scrolling it on the bottom. As many of you know, Tammy is our expert search and rescue person in our group, and she heads up South Texas Canine Search and Rescue with a Bach, and she is actively searching down in Texas and helping out. So I'm scrolling down on the bottom for any donations that anybody um, can would like to donate to Tammy. And this is the good thing because it. I know I saw Samaritan's Purse did wonderful work during North Carolina. Cajun Navy did great work. Those are the two that I saw that were out there just wonderfully. And so I think when we know that our money is going to a great cause and we can send it directly to that person, and we know that their search and rescue, it's for expenses, for gas, for the dog, anything that they need. I think it helps. I'm not very trusting of, like, I hate to say this, but like Red Cross and some of those, I don't know. But if we can send directly, so it's for South Texas Canine Search and Rescue for our very own Tammy, who's out there, and there's her cash app. Um, there's her cash app, $TJ1534. Anything you all can help with, I know she'll appreciate it. It's just wonderful that there's so many heroes and so many angels that are assisting Texas right now. What a tragedy. We had North Carolina. Look, here's Tammy. I'm no expert. Yes, you are. You're search and rescue. You're an expert search and rescue person. Well, Bach is the expert. The animals are always the experts, like Splash. Splash is the expert. There's Splash. Splash is the search and rescue otter from Peace River down in Florida. So we love our search and rescue groups. And it's funny that I don't know why, and I'm going to do a letter tomorrow. I made up my mind that if we can send money all over the globe, but yet groups like Tammy's and Peace River, they don't get a dime. Just so you all know, they don't get any monies from the federal government. Zero. But yet we're sending money all over the place. Why aren't we giving for our own people and our own search and rescue groups? I would love that. So that's just my 2 cents. But I'm gonna fire off a letter tomorrow and just give my 2 cents. I think they should do a bill in Congress. While they're doling out money, give it to our people. I love him too. He's special. Splash is king. Splash is definitely king. And he's doing great in his training. I post as many videos of Splash in training as I can with Mike. And I'm like, Mike, make these shareable so I can share Splash. And if you like Splash merch, it's Peace River Canine Search and Rescue on Zazzle. They have a merch store. If you like the t-shirt, that's where I got mine, their merch store. So we love to help our search and rescue people. Well, I hope y'all are doing well. Let's get into it. I have a huge show planned for tonight. And I know Tammy is loading her truck. She's back out searching again tomorrow. So say a prayer for her and for Bach just to stay safe. The conditions that these people are in, I just can't even imagine. I cannot imagine. So everybody light a candle for Tammy and all of them, all the search and rescue, and just we'll keep everybody in our prayers and, and the families in our prayers. It's just a very sad situation. I looked up some stats tonight for tonight's show. We have, unfortunately, the death toll is at 133, and now we've got missing 101. Hi, Miss Rue. How are you? So we still have 101 missing. 133 is the death toll. So very, very sad. It's just give our prayers out to Texas, and we're praying for you guys in Texas. The hill country. I had never heard of the hill country, honestly, before these storms and the floods. I had never heard of the hill country. We have flash flooding areas as well, and this is a good time. And I know I have been just pounding this, but I'm telling you, it will keep you alert because I am in a flash flood zone. I am in Tornado Alley now. What's considered Tornado Alley. You can upload the Weather Channel app. It is free. It will give you alerts. It's the Weather Channel, like what's on cable, and you will get alerts on flash floods, tornadoes, thunderstorms, any snow in your area. And like I said, it's free. So everybody make sure and do that. Okay, here's Miss Tammy said, first day I went out there with my friend Dennis. I told them it's not 26 missing. There's going to be at least 150. I'm thinking closer to 1,000. Oh, I sure hope not. I hope not. I hope not. And they're still finding people in North Carolina while the construction and rebuilding is going on. It's just very, very tragic. This is a good time for everybody to get the apps. It's so easy. And just to be, I hate to harp, but I do, and to be very weather aware, especially when the weather is so bizarro this year. Very bizarre. We had kind of a weird tornado season as well. We had one tornado that stretched the entire state of Kentucky. And then it hit over in London. And London is a beautiful little town down in southeastern Kentucky, right before you get to the mountains. And it's beautiful and just weird weather patterns. I think you need it. Everybody needs it. We need it. So death toll, I got that. And now I found some interesting information because, like we talked about last week, there was so much misinformation that, I think a lot of it got lost in the weeds. And, it was upsetting to a lot of the family members that checking social media and seeing just horrific things on there. And I hope people learned to not do that and make things like this political, because it shouldn't be. These are people, and they're all our people. But this is some interesting information because I know I love the National Weather Service, and they took a big hit on this, and they have released a lot of information. And I'm gonna just read a little bit of it to you guys. July 2nd, they started to talk about the flooding in the area. July the 2nd. National Weather Service on July 3rd at 7 a.m. Flood outlook, flash river flooding. At 10 a.m., the local mayors and city officials were involved, discussed state on what's called a state call. I don't really know what that is, but that went out. 1:18 p.m. This is again on July 3rd. Flood watch was highlighted again for Kerr, forecasted 5 to 7 inches. 6:30, National Weather Service updated again. There's going to be a rapid runoff, considerable flash flooding. Nocturnal timing will also enhance the hazard potential and impact. Notes this is potential. This is important. Notes the potential for historic rainfall event. Austin, San Antonio, San Angelino, West Gulf River, and Fort Worth assigned extra personnel to work at the National Weather Service Thursday night and into the following day. So regardless of what we heard, there was nobody on staff. They actually had extra staff to cover this event. So see how misinformation comes out? Then on July the 4th, 1:14 a.m., flash flooding in Kerr County. The co-director of Camp Mystic was informed. He was on the night watch. That was at 1:14. And then the life-threatening flash flooding alert went over phones from 2 to 2:30. Relocation to the campers to the rec hall. 4:03 came across. Immediately get to high ground, life endangering. 4:03 a.m. So as you can see from what I read off, there were a lot of warnings that did go out. Now, whether or not there was internet service there, we don't know the details. But I'm sure they can look at that, and the officials will take care of that. This was very interesting. This went from 3 feet to 30 feet in 45 minutes. A 20-foot wall. Think about that. A 20-foot wall of water hit and was going down that river. 20 foot. So this clearly was a very huge, maybe once in a century event. We don't know. They said that about when it happened in Kentucky too. So, but I think the thing is when these events occur, people step back. We pray for the victims. Over 800, I think it may have been more, were rescued. That is phenomenal by first responders, law enforcement, fire departments. It's amazing that many people were rescued. And that seemed to get lost as well. So that's what has occurred. So let's see. And I know Tammy said she's going tomorrow. And the what I have up, it's interesting. This is, they said Camp Mystic was at the spot that really gets battered. Really, really gets battered. So there's the dining, and I've got pictures too. As you can see, there were the cabins. There were cabins down at the lower part of the campsite, of the campgrounds, and that's where the younger children were, the ones that are currently missing. And we all know what happened. The wall of water came, and we've got children missing from there. As you can see, look at that debris and look at just the people that are searching, and that how far up the debris went with the water, with the people that are walking. It's massive, massive water. There we go. Look at that picture. I think that picture says it all, doesn't it? It's just a massive. And look how darling this little camp is. We have Camp Mystic. And another piece of information is the gentleman that was the director was lost, perished in the flood, trying to help evacuate and get kids to safety. There's some more pictures of Camp Mystic. Just the damage is just, look at that. Look at that. Look at that debris field. This is what they're searching through. It's just, looks like North Carolina. Now, as you can see, that's the mess tent. That is the dining hall. Look how much farther down the guys in the blue boat are from the dining area. So can you imagine that wall of water came all the way up through there? Look at how far up that is. Here's another picture of the dining area. Now, I thought this was very interesting because, as you can see, look at the dining area and look at how far down that river is now. It almost looks like just, and that's a hill. It's up on a hill. And they have water just crushing through there. Can you imagine that? It's absolutely crazy. I think this picture just says 1,000 words. When you look at that's up a hill and the river's at the bottom. And there, look at that. What a wall of water. Massive. Okay, here is the chart that I did. Now, it is an event chart because it was an event. But of course, we don't have, like normally when we do our true crime, we don't have a perp, nor do we have, you know, we do have victims, but we don't have like a crime scene. But I found it interesting because what would the campsite be? It would be the fifth house, places that we enjoy to go to, our, hobbies, playtime, golf courses, baseball fields. So the campground would be the fifth house. Well, the moon is always the co-ruler. So that would be the victims of the actual flood. Also the ascendant, which would be Mercury. So we have Mercury down in the third house, which is within the neighborhood. What were they doing? They were within that area, the campground. And look at, we've got a square, what we call a square. The moon is squaring Pluto up by kind of near the midheaven a little. It's up in the ninth house. And it's a square. But what I found very interesting in this chart, I used fixed star sheet because that sheet is always around water tragedies. Water tragedies. Well, wouldn't you know, sheets up there with the North Node in Pisces in the 10th house next to Saturn and Neptune. So there we go. And, sheet is right there with Jupiter, squaring Jupiter. What does Jupiter do in the second house? In Cancer, if you notice, all of these points of this particular flood hit water signs. Don't have to remind us, astrology, of the impact of that water. So we've got activity with Pisces, which is big water, Cancer, water, and what's Scorpio is just there. Scorpio actually is not. Scorpio will be the sixth house, but look at how that's triggered. And we have sheet is triggered by Jupiter, which enhances everything. So, that kind of gives us a big idea. Uranus is is catastrophic weather events. Uranus was sitting at its 29 degrees. And the last time when we had Pluto at 29 degrees, we always have something occur. It's at that 29. And anybody that knows me with astrology knows that I talk constantly about the 29th degree and the power of that degree. Actually in 29 to 0. But 29, it never fails. So we had Uranus, which is chaos, natural events, catastrophic weather events, hitting sheet, which is water. So it's actually all there. It's actually all there. Sheet is connected to Mercury, which is the kids, and Pluto. Pluto and Mercury were opposed that night. So that is it. But I think what's more important is the mapping to help our search and rescuers. So I used, here we go. We've got Camp Mystic, so you can see where it sits. And Hunt is up there as well. Oh, I am? Oh, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me okay? Hi, Howie. Linda, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, chat, answer me. Can you guys? Okay. I guess you guys can hear me. I might have been talking. I was thinking, Howie. Maybe my voice was like thinking, and I went lower my voice. So there we are with our map. And okay, so I pointed to where. Okay, Lee, I can hear you. Okay, hun, thank you. Right at, thanks, Sin. See where I pointed the white arrow? That is where the camps were, right there at that loop at the river loop. Okay, so here's the map. Now Hunt is up at the top. I did this chart with let me make it a little bigger. Okay, there, that's bigger. So I did the chart, you guys, with this type of a map background to make it easier to find the water. Camp Mystic is in the middle for searchers. Okay. So as you can see, it's a little grainy on here, but it's not on the original map. Okay, there we go. There's a better close-up area where the search and rescue people might look. As you can see where the lines are going through some of the water areas there. There's some there from Camp Mystic. There's some up to the north, all the way up north of Camp Mystic, down in that area. Now, they're going to know how the water was flowing, okay? So they'll know search and rescue. But like that area right there by, see where that is? That area, they can use this map very well. This map really, it's all through the water. So let me go back to, there you go. So this map is from up to Hunt, all the way down that water, all the way down to Camp Mystic. I don't know if it went up or down. These areas, there's some areas off to the northeast that can be searched. So I'm not quite sure exactly how the water was flowing or how the wall of water, which way it moved. I don't know. But that's the map for search and rescue. And, you know, I sure hope it helps. I heard you clear the whole show. Thanks, Tam. Tammy, was the water going? I don't know how the water was flowing. Did the water flow from Hunt down to Camp Mystic, or did it go past Camp Mystic onto Hunt? Where did the wall of water come from? Do you know that? By chance, I'd be interested to know that. So that is the map for search and rescue. So Tammy, if you could just throw that in the chat, we'll look at it. So that is the search and rescue for the flooding for Texas. And again, you guys, if anyone can, down at the bottom scrolling is South Texas Canine Search and Rescue, or any donations anybody could possibly do. There's Tammy's Cash App to help with some of the expenses. That would be really great. Okay, there we've got some more pictures of that. So Tammy, just if you can just, you know, relay that to us, let us know, and if which way the water came, if anybody knows from just reading in the media. And Rue, if you see anything on this chart, please chime in. There we go. Chime in, Rue, if you see anything at all that you want to add to this chart. That would be wonderful. Okay. So that is our, unfortunately, just so sad of our Texas flooding situation. There we go again. That's a great picture of it too. So there's Hunt and there's Camp Mystic. And Tammy, I guess Tammy, are you going to Camp La Junte tomorrow or to Camp Mystic? Tammy is going to be in the Hunt area tomorrow searching. So here's the river. And it looks like such a beautiful camp, doesn't it, everybody? Just a beautiful little area. Okay. So moving along. Anybody else got anything to add they'd like to add regarding the flooding? Okay. You guys are quiet. Are you just paying attention? What is it? I'm looking on the thing and see if I hit the end stream button by mistake, and I'm just sitting here talking to myself like I usually do. If you guys recall on the 4th of July show, oh, I know. I know. Just very tragic. And I think, just terrified and very tragic. I mean, and very quick. This was moving. It is. Oh, okay. I was disoriented to the whole time I was out there. You're asking the wrong person. Okay. I was just curious. As if the water came down from Hunt to Camp Mystic or from Camp Mystic to Hunt. That I was just curious. But it's extremely tragic. Flash flooding is very, very strong and powerful and very serious. I mean, so get that app. Oh, okay, you guys. Now, we were talking, if you guys recall, we looked at America's solar return chart. And I was very, very, extremely optimistic on this solar return chart. And as you recall, I said, you guys, it with Jupiter in the 6th house, and I circled it again. This economy is going to boom with work and the workforce, if you all remember. Okay. So we look at that. We looked at Pluto. We found out after the show, and it was announced last week, that in June of 2025, it was the first time that America actually took in billions of dollars on the plus side, the first time in 20 years, that we were not at a negative. So I thought, well, that is complete confirmation from what we talked about on July the 4th with the economy. Now, the pink arrow up at the 8th chart in the 8th house, we have Mars in there in Virgo. Remember how I remarked how precise and analytical that Virgo operates. And up in that 8th house, that's other people's money. That would be the tariffs, and that was tariff income is up in the billions and billions of dollars. And I said, we have to really be positive, because this chart is extremely positive for the solar return. Today, again, the inflation is down. We were 2023. We got as high as 9%. We're down to 2. I think today they said it was 2.3% inflation. So I mean, I just wanted to reiterate how positive that is. So it was funny because when I looked at the solar return, I thought, well, I'm going to do some investigating on the economy and what is going on. And remember, the 8th house is taxes. So I thought, Mars is in there. Virgo is there. These are excellent Jupiter and the sun, phenomenal in the 6th house. Okay. So I thought I'm going to find out about the taxes. Look at this. To summarize the facts on the taxes that and I'm tired of not getting the right information. So I looked it up myself and did research. I mean, I do a lot of stuff like that. I've done it for years with work. We got really nice 2017 tax cuts were due to expire. And I bet a lot of people didn't know this. Were due to expire at the end of this year. Had we not gotten this tax bill passed, that would have increased. Wait till you see these numbers, you guys. This would have increased every American's taxes substantially. In addition, deductions would have been drastically cut as well, causing up to 60% increase in households. So, for example, you know how families get the child care credit? The child care credit at the end of this year was going to drop from $2,000 per child to $1,000 per child. Okay? The National Taxpayers Union noted that 80% of Americans would face tax increases. Standard deductions were cut in half for a couple from $30,000 to $16,000. I did not know this. That was due to expire this year, had the tax cuts not been done again. So, the new tax cuts that went through, and this is exciting news. Seniors now are going to receive a $6,000 tax deduction that applies to itemizers and non-itemizers. Seniors, $6,000. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We will be able to deduct car interest. It also reinstates charitable deductions for non-itemizers. So this is what the tax bill that was just gone through for a single person age 66 on Social Security. They will get an increase of, Social Security. Let's say, $13,020. Tips increase would have been $2,200. Auto loan, $1,100 for a total savings of $4,620 in tax savings with this new bill. Joint, let's say, for example, they got overtime for $4,400, charitable donations for $40, $2,640. Their savings are $7,840. So an average family of 4 is going to see an additional $10,000 a year saving by these new tax cuts that just went through, which is very exciting news. I was excited when I saw that. The average American family of 4 earning less than $100,000 will receive additional $600 in tax cuts, and preventing a $1,700 tax increase. Additionally, the bill is reported to increase take-home pay for a typical family of 4 to up to $10,900 annually. And they enhanced the child tax credit by $500 up. Another estimate source suggests a $1,300 tax cut. So we are going to see more money in our pockets, believe it or not. Again, misinformation. So I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out. So I'm going to keep investigating this bill even more and keep reading through it and just pass on the information. Anytime we get extra money in our pockets, everyone, we love it. We love extra money, don't we? We love it. So that's going along with the chart. Now, I've also got an update on the Minnesota. Remember the guy with the mask? This was so weird, you guys. Oh, okay. Linda, I looked into that today. Yes, I do. Is that a rural? Yes, I have a ton of information. Again, it's misinformation, and I will bring that to you next week. I started to read up a bunch of it. It's 7% of their income. However, for rural hospitals, they added additional funding to go to them. So that is again, and I'll have all that information. I will bring that out to next week because I did look that up for Medicaid. So yes, no, you are not going to lose any hospitals whatsoever. No, you're not. I'll have all the info and I'll show it to you next week because I almost put it in this week, but I just didn't get a chance to put it all in. I'll put the Medicaid information in there too because there's a lot of misinformation on that. Tons of misinformation. But anybody on Social Security, you're not paying any taxes because you're getting the $6,000 tax cut. So you get to deduct it. So that's wonderful. But no, that's misinformation on the country hospitals. And I'll have that all next week. This guy, remember Minnesota man? We got his the subpoena information and the manifesto. The manifesto is very, very interesting, you guys. And I pulled up bits of it. This is what was in his manifesto. Remember, if you all recall, they said it was a rambling type of a note in a notebook that nobody could understand. I read it. This is what it said. Recently, I was approached about a project that Tim Walls wanted done. Amy Klobuchar, I screwed that name up, and Tina Keith were involved. I wasn't originally aware of the project, but Tim wanted me to unalive Amy and Tina to force a planned retirement. He goes on to say, he promises more information will come out about the 2 years leading up to the shootings. He actually goes into how he and Walls were connected, that he knew him through the boards that he had assigned him to, and it's pretty interesting stuff. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. He talked about a post about the alleged hit list that cops say they found in his car, claiming certain details of that letter were leaked. That probably painted one kind of a picture, but a lot more important details that were in that letter were not leaked out. So we're going to have some interesting information come out on this one. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with this. Is this guy, he is claiming that he is innocent and did not do any of the pow-pows. He is claiming that he is innocent. He also stated that he had an AR or an AK pointed at an officer right at her head. Do you recall when an officer pulled up to him while she was supposed to do the house check and he did not respond to her and she drove away? He said, I didn't unalive her. I'm respectful of the law enforcement, and I would never in a million years pow at law enforcement. So this is going to be a rabbit hole. And he said it's a much larger conspiracy theory, and he felt that he was not to be taken alive. So he wrote this note while he was at his house. If you recall, he said he was going to turn himself in. That's what he claims. So they released that. They released all of the what they had found. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be I would hope there would be an investigation on this because of the fact it would be very easy for them to find out if he was in having conversations with what's his name. We don't know. But I think it's pretty interesting that I don't know about you all, but a red flag comes up to me. Now, this is just my opinion, and I could be way off base on this one. It sure left the news cycle very, very quickly. And I find that odd. Just find that doesn't anybody else find that it left our news cycle so quick? And when that happens, I have a tendency to think, what? I don't know. I guess it's me wanting to jump down a rabbit hole, but I guess I think, what's being hidden? I probably not. This guy, maybe it's just a whack job. We don't know. But I think it's interesting that this has come out like this. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a little shocked that they released it because they usually don't release anything to us. We have nothing on Crooks from PA. We have nothing on a lot of the. It's okay. Is it just me, Lee? Okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me wanting to dive down a rabbit hole. Very odd. And I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. I can't really remember what the chart said. I'm going to have to look at this event chart again. I know I'm not quite sure what the event chart said. I think it was very odd that he claims that he bought that car from somebody at a bus stop and an e-bike. I found that odd. That who would do that at 6 a.m, sell somebody a car for cash? So I think it's odd. I think and why all the cash? He had tons of cash, remember? So I think there's more to this. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna find out. So that's odd. Anybody else have any feelings on that? Lee finds it odd. I think it's odd that it left the news cycle so fast. These were important people that lost their lives. Oh, yes. You know what? Linda, they still have no location on the guy from out here that his 3 daughters, they don't even know if he is still. No, they don't. And Keith even made mention about the blood that they found on the truck. And that's odd too. That they found somebody else's blood on his truck. And it didn't belong to the girls. That was odd. So that's another one that isn't that funny that one too kind of, they searched and it was in the news cycles, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. That's another crazy one, isn't it? It's very odd. Yeah, that's another weird one. It just seems funny that just like that, gone from the news cycle. Does anybody have anything else they want to add into info on the shows tonight? No, it was not. It came back. It was not his. That's what Keith told me. It was not his. I guess the test came back. Keith said it was not. They sure haven't had that out in the news cycle either. Tammy, do you want to add into anything? I'll go through the chat. Kathy says the police have been there, located missing people, and but they set up a food truck and raised $25,000 to help the people from there. Isn't that wonderful, Kathy? It's just absolutely wonderful. We need to send one of those jobs. It isn't pretty in her job search. I'm sorry to hear that, Linda. Gosh, we've got a ton here. Is it your area? We have a ton here. Hunt, not sure they're making their way by section south to Comal County. We don't know, Tam. And, oh, Tammy, do you know this? Thomas asked how many dams were opened or blown up in the river's flow stream. Do you know? Thomas, Tammy is one of the folks that's doing the search and rescue down there with her dog, Bach. So, Tammy, do you know that answer? If are there even dams down there on this little river? You know, I don't even know if there are dams in that area. Thomas, do you know that answer, Tammy? We'll find out if Tammy knows that answer. She's a remote worker. She can work anywhere remotely. And you know what? The thing about it is, I know remote is kind of in the office now and in remote. Yes, of course. Tammy might be loading her truck. I'm not sure about the remote there. I know remote here is kind of not really doing it too much anymore. People are, but not like they were. People are going back to the office. Okay. It comes river flow from Sabagif. What's Sabag? Is that a city? I'm not sure. I don't know, Thomas. And that was a heck of a wall of water. 20-foot wall of water is just, it's phenomenal. And the pictures from the destruction is just beyond what I can comprehend. Well, and it's and there's the map. See, I was wondering, my question is, was it flowing up or down? I don't know. Sabuge. Oh, okay, the city. Okay. And I don't know if any of the maps that I have show any type of dams anyway. Sabotage. Okay, I thought you were talking about a town. I thought you were doing a town. Sabotage. If Tammy can answer that, if she's still here, that I don't know, hun. If Tammy's there or not. Sabotage. Okay. Sabotage with a dam opening. And I don't know if there's any dam. Does anybody know if there's any dams in that area? Do any of our Texas people know that? I'm not quite sure. Well, you guys, does anybody else have anything they want to add to the chat? If anybody has anything else they want to add to the chat. You guys are awful quiet. It's a quiet chat tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And next week I'll bring some information still on the money situation on Medicaid, and also we have some more missing persons cases that are really out there. Actually, there's starting to pick up. We've got pretty many cases that are ongoing and out there, so I'll bring one next week. And don't forget, if anybody can and you're able, and I know money is tight, please think about Tammy at South Texas Canine Search and Rescue, Cash App, $TJ1534 for the donations go to help with the search and rescue crews. And that's for gas money, for the dogs, for just anything that search and rescue folks need. So our heart goes out to Texas, and we'll keep our prayers with them. And don't forget, you guys, tune in to Rift Nation every night of the week. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's Tammy. Here we go. Tammy's got info. Yes, I found somebody's down. Are you thinking like seed clouding? Backtack. Okay, yes, I found somebody's down from the dam. Okay, get some info. Well, that dam from the water treatment, I don't think one dam being opened would cause all that. I feel like cloud seeding. I really do now. We're having more floods in another part of Texas, Uvalde. Do you feel that is that what the talk is? You know, is that the gossipy talk there too, Tammy? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you know, we did have that that one CEO of the company stated that he did indeed do see seed clouding in that area. And he claims that it did not. And I agree with this. Why is this authorities to bankers? I agree with that. And we talked about that last week too, Thomas, that why isn't the public notified when cloud seeding is going on? Who makes the decision? Who has the authority over the cloud seeding? That needs to change. I feel like it should. And I think, you know, I haven't found gossip like that, but the news came right out and said it is not cloud seeding. Yeah, but since when? Well, they told us there was no such thing. And then the guy that owned the company came out and said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing it." And he was on I think it was Sean Atwood's show, talking about cloud seeding and how he did it in that area. So that disputed that, because the kid that did it, 25 years old, said, "Yeah, I did it." Well, obviously land grabs. Isn't that funny? Have you all heard now? I agree with that, Tammy. Why are they playing God? I completely agree with that 100%. Have you all heard now that they are proposing I'm just relaying the information. They are now putting up low income housing in the area of Los Angeles that was destroyed in the fires. Low income housing is going up in that area. Low income. Isn't that funny? He didn't admit how it can affect areas nearby. He didn't admit to much. So that's crazy. Yes, that happened. They announced it this week that they're building, and they have not. Apparently, they've not built. It's been 6 months. Not one house has been built back in California. Not one house. They are busy with weather wars. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. No insurance. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Well, and they had no water either. None of the fire hydrants had water in them. Imagine that. And, you know, we've got Maui, California. Seems a little odd, doesn't it? That's just another rabbit hole to go down. Another rabbit hole for me. Well, you guys, take care. Miss Tammy, our thoughts are going to be with you. You please be careful with Bach, and come back next Wednesday and let us know what's going on down in the search area. We're praying, keeping everybody in our prayers. And thanks you guys so much for tuning in. I love it. I love what I do, and I couldn't do it without you guys tuning in and watching every Wednesday. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys spending your time with me on a Wednesday. So have a great week. Everybody have a great super week. And I will see everybody next Wednesday. Be safe, be kind, and get that Weather Channel app on your phone too. So thanks again, Tammy. Be safe. We love you guys. Thanks for everything. Have a good week. Bye bye.